Hey, what's up, everybody? Boss Cowboy. Just sitting here and just was going through crunching numbers. I said, you know what? Let me try to explain this to the fans, cause I'm seeing some stuff that's coming. But before I get into that, I do the lunch report with my brother West Coast, and I do the end of day report. So that's where you can find me, and definitely look up our information. You can go to Dallas Cowboy Scouting to find West Coast. You can go to Boss Cowboy Sports on Facebook to find all the information that, especially what I'm getting ready to talk about right now. Because I see an impasse, and I don't think a lot of the fans see it. So that's why I made this video. I'm just sitting here just kind of bored. I said, let me make something that might make it easy for everybody to see it. Because Stephen Jones voiced the impasse with Tank, but it is an impasse that I see coming with Dak, and that's actually here. But do we see it? Because the only way you're going to really see it, the pattern, is you have to be able to look at the contracts of the previous franchise quarterbacks. I was bored and I did it. I said, so the best way to kind of know what's going to happen going forward is to look backwards. And that's what I did. I looked backwards at the previous contracts and I found a pattern. Another thing that you have to be able to do, that as far as my research, I don't think anybody's done yet, and the only time you hear this information is on the lunchtime report and the end of day report with me and my brother West Coast. But you have to be able to compare the quarterbacks and the contracts. Don't matter even what year it is. So you'll say, Boss Cowboy, why you do that? I mean, you can't do that because the salary cap goes up every year. How do you actually compare? You can. I'm going to tell you how. The way that you compare and figure out what's fair for Dak is, first, you have to take a quarterback that signed a contract in the past, take the percentage of their cap as signing, multiply that by this year's total salary cap number, which is $188.2 million. When you do that, guess what? That's when you figure out what's fair for Dak. So I actually did that. I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna try to paint this picture for you. See if you see the pattern that I do. So first, we'll start with Andrew Luck, and I'm gonna do this in order. When he signed his contract, it was for $24.6 million. You'll say, well, that's what I think. Dak should get less than that. That's what your thinking would say. But remember, the cap goes up every year. It was 15.8% of the total cap at the time he signed the contract. So what would that contract, based on the percentage of cap, which was 15.8%, what would it be today? Again, I said multiply the percentage of cap, about $188.2 million. Look, if he signed that contract today, based on the percentage of cap when he signed it then, would be 29.5, or really closer to $6 million. So when we do that with each one of the quarterbacks, then we're able to say what's fair for Dak today, especially when you compare him against Dak. So, and I want you to notice this pattern. Andrew Luck, when he signed his contract, was $24.6 million. After that, it was Derek Carr. The next up, he went up slightly, $25 million. But the percentage of cap was less, but it was the next year. So the amount, if you converted Derek Carr's contract then to now, by multiplying the percentage of the cap, the 15%, it would be $28.2 million today. And so you'll say, how does Dak compare to Carr? And I'm gonna go down each one's yearly average. Tell me if you see the pattern. Andrew Luck was 24.6 when he signed. Next up, Derek Carr, 25 million. Next up, Matthew Stafford, 27, went up a little bit. Jimmy Garoppolo, 27.5, went up a little bit. Drew Brees went down. You say, what happened? Why Drew Brees go down? He's a better quarterback. Why would he do that? He's at the end of his career. Because in his second contract, Drew Brees is at 16.6% of the cap. This is his third. In which he was trying to hook the team up, trying to keep as many pieces together, he went in and gave him a friendly deal at 14.1% of the cap. So that's not a Drew Brees contract that's normal to market, so that's actually not a franchise market contract. He's closer to 16.6. If he signed a 16.6% of the cap today, that would be $31 million today. But let's keep going. So after Jimmy Garoppolo was then Drew Brees and then Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins actually picks up his market rate, and it goes from 27.5 to 28, small incremental increase. So today that would be worth 29. Then Matt Ryan was 30. Aaron Rodgers jacked it up to 33.5 million from Matt Ryan being 30. So what happened? Well, what actually happened is Aaron Rodgers messed up the market. It was smaller incremental increases up into Aaron Rodgers, who went from Matt Ryan to Aaron Rodgers. It went from 30 million to 33.5 million. That's the impasse that now Jerry and Stevens is gonna have to deal with. Because guess what? Russell Wilson was next. And he had an incremental increase from 33.5% to now Russell Wilson, his yearly average was 35. So the pattern is very consistent. It was only broken with Drew Brees. And Drew Brees obviously did a team-friendly deal. But other than that, it didn't have anything to do with how good this quarterback was compared to this next quarterback or this other quarterback. It was all about, if you're the next franchise quarterback that's in line, your agent is going to always try to negotiate an incremental increase on a yearly average. That's the impasse. So that means right now, Stephen Jones has pressure from Dak's agent. And guess who Dak's agent is? Matt Ryan's agent. And Matt Ryan's contract broke all three records: the guarantee record, the yearly average record, and the total contract record. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a real monster. We're dealing with somebody who really, really wants Dak, believe me, to take something in the range of 35.5, a small incremental increase. But this is the problem. This is the impasse. Previously, franchise quarterbacks was as low as 14%. They never went above 17% of the total cap. That's the big impasse. Never have they went above 17%. But because of Aaron Rodgers set a whole new exponential market to where his was closer to 19%. And so Russell Wilson followed. And when he followed, his percentage of the cap was now 18.6%. So you got Stephen Jones, and it's not really the limit if you got the money. But it's about fairness, right? And it's like president. Like if you look at president and you say, okay, even Drew Brees after his Super Bowl received 16.6%. And Flacco after he won his Super Bowl was 16.3%. Aaron jacked it up to 19%, and Russell Wilson behind it. So Steven has a challenge. His challenge is, will Dak's contract continue the trend of being slightly above the yearly average, which is under Russell Wilson, 35 million, or will he be able to talk Dak's agent down to what's more than likely fair and historical, which is between 14 and 16% of the cap? Because Dak got a decision to make, and he'll have to take a long-term approach. Hopefully he does, because if Dak takes a long-term approach, he'll take around 16% right now, 16.2, which will put him around 30 million to 31 million. Because Stephen Jones, he did a good job, and he explained that Dak don't have a Super Bowl. You know, that's neither really here nor there, because the Super Bowls obviously didn't matter to Drew Brees when he took 16.6% in his second contract. But Steven got to hold, because if he hold, he's going to be able to put the quarterback market and reset it back to the 16%, 15%. But there's also a bottom. Steven explained his top when he said they had to have a Super Bowl ring, but that also gave Dak a bottom. Because if you Dak, how can you in good faith and look at it respectful and consider it respect to get anything less than what Derek Carr received, which in today's, if we converted his percentage of cap to today's, it would be 28.23. Matthew Stafford, I'm Dak, I'm 2-0 on Matthew Stafford. And he, in today's term, his percentage of cap would have enumerated him 30.3 million. Okay, well, that's where you start. I mean, if I'm Dak, you told me my ceiling, and the ceiling is, hey, Aaron Rodgers and Russell, you're not getting that. Okay, then I should fall right in line with people that I beat. Head up, much better games, way better 3 years. So 30.3, that sounds fair to me. I outperformed Matthew Stafford. I'm 2-0 on him. Jimmy Garoppolo hurt. He didn't even get through New England. He received 29.71. If I convert his percentage of the cap to today's cap, he would have received 29 million. Okay, yeah, I should be right around that, 30, 31, 32. And I think what's going to happen, Kirk Cousins. That's the big boy. So with Kirk Cousins, today, if we converted his percentage of cap to today's cap, total cap, multiply it to see what's fair. Dak is 4-0 on Kirk Cousins. 4-0. Beat him down. 29 million today. So, Dak will have to take the long approach. The long approach is to consider who you are and that you're a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. And being a Dallas Cowboy quarterback has a whole lot of benefits to it. And people like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, they got to fight for every dollar. You know why? Because they might not see another dollar. When you're a Dallas Cowboy quarterback, you have the best demand of all the jobs that's out there. And because Dak is a Dallas Cowboy quarterback, he's right now experiencing the blessing of being in a higher market, the most popular team, and the most recognized brand and sports brand in the world. He has multiple endorsements that he would have never received, ever, if he was in a lower market team, even with way better play. But you're a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. So the long approach, in my opinion, would be take you a normal percentage of the cap, which is around 15 to 16%, at the most 17. And that'll put you in the realm of Witten, Romo, Aikman, where you increase your chances of being able to get a Super Bowl. And a bigger guarantee is only thing I would demand if I was Dak. Because I want as much of the cap space as possible to help the team, because I know me being even a little bit successful here guarantees me all kind of prosperity. That Romo experience, that Witten experience, that Aikman experience, that Staubach experience, to where you're skipping people that on their resumes are way more deserving of those premium jobs. So, I do see an impasse. Will that agent fight to try to get him slightly over 35 million, which Russell Wilson just received? Or would Dak say, give me a 6-year long-term contract, a bigger guarantee, where I can cut that per average down and that'll get the market back to reasonableness versus this inflated values of Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. So we gonna see what happens. Hopefully we come out with a long approach.